The Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms has made a working visit to École Normale Technique Education in Douala. The Secretary General for FECAFOOT has signed a press release on the resolutions adopted by the committee. And out of the country, war in Ukraine has caused increase in prices of commodities in Nigeria and Malawi. This and many more will make up today's edition of the English newscast. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us on the 5:30 p.m. newscast over LTM TV. We are broadcasting live from our headquarters in the economic capital of Cameroon, Douala. To begin this newscast, the Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms, Joseph Lee, has made a working visit in École Normale Technique de Douala. His visit is meant to implement the guidelines made by the President of the Republic as regards the problems raised by teachers in Cameroon. More of this in the following report. In a very high perspective of the implementation of the guidelines of the President of the Republic, Head of State, regarding the claims made by teachers, the Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms, Joseph Lee, had a working visit on March 16, 2022, with the administrative authorities of École Normale Technical Education in Douala, littoral region of the country, to effect of impregnating them from the new procedure of processing of integrating files of laureate, which consist of their systematic deposit in regional delegations or the central services of the Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reforms.
We came to bring some fresh information to our students who are here at NSET, because they should know that their files, instead of going to the Ministry of Higher Education, then to the Ministry of Secondary Education, before reaching our place at Minfopra, will now go straight from the university, which means from NSET here, to our ministry. And that will facilitate our condition of work to make them be integrated in the public service. And all those documents will be digitalized so that we will not have documents missing in some files. And we count on them to help us to do that job. Because when they are still here, being trained at the University of Douala, it's the time to start constituting their files. Then, at the end, we'll just wait for one thing, only one thing, their certificate or their diploma. That will be delivered by the Ministry of Higher Education. And when we have that document, we just complete the file and the process will go more quickly.
However, Minister Joseph Lee has urged this institution to probably collaborate with the ministries in order to facilitate their jobs.
We are going to work together with them. We are going to work together with the universities, with the Écoles Normales. All the Écoles Normales we have in our country. I think there are about 8 or 9. We are going to work with them so that everything should go smoothly.
It is important to note that the Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reforms thanked the director and the authorities of the University of Douala for a warm welcome and the facilities put in place for a better workforce. The government of the Republic of Cameroon has launched the 4th phase of the COVID-19 vaccination campaign. This campaign is meant to run from the 16th to the 20th of March 2022 across the national territory. More of this with the LTM News Desk. The COVID-19 vaccination campaign will run from the 16th to the 20th of March, given frequent mutations of the COVID-19 virus. The Minister of Public Health explains that the campaign aims to improve Cameroon's vaccination coverage and prepare for a new wave of infections or a new variant. The campaign is launched at a time when Cameroon has recovered a record low confirmed cases in nearly 3 months. Infections have been on a decline since January, when the 2021 African Cup of Nations was organized in Cameroon. Although there were fears that infections will rise after the competition, reports from the Minister of Public Health have continued to show a decline. A report published in early March showed barely 133 positive cases. However, like during similar campaigns, vaccines will be administered in health centers, churches, schools, markets, and other public places. Persons who have taken complete doses of the vaccine are free to take a booster dose. The booster doses will be administered in conformity with recommendations of the Public Health Scientific Council and National Technical Vaccination Consultative Group. The Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manawuda Malashi, calls on Cameroonians who have not yet taken the immunized against COVID-19 to massively turn out for the vaccination exercise. It should be noted that the campaign is taking place when the government is grappling with the cholera epidemic which hit the country in early January. Figures from the Public Health Ministry shows a total of 1,888 cases confirmed across the national territory.
5 chiefdoms in the Ndé division have been gifted solar panels. This was in an occasion which was chaired by the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Ketcha, and French politician Mwanze Elizabeth tells us more.
The electrification project of the 13 chiefdoms in the Ndé division, west region of the country, has begun. 5 chiefdoms of that division were gifted solar panels. The chiefdoms of Bandunga, Bangante, Bangulap, Bazu, and Bamena were the first chiefdoms to be gifted with solar panels. This project is the effort of the network of princesses and queen mothers of the Ndé division, RIPREM, headed by the Minister of Urban Development, Celestine Ketcha, and the Foundation Désir d'Avenir pour la Planète, headed by Ségolène Royal. This electrification project is worth over 1 billion francs CFA. Experts say this solar energy installation will last for over 20 years. According to His Majesty the King of Bazu, Chua Kemaju Vengsang, this project will light up the Bazu chiefdom.
Ça va éclairer le village.
It will light up the whole village, as the palace has to be a place of development, and this will boost development in the village. That is the significance of this light and what it will bring to the chief.
Ce que la lumière va apporter dans notre chef.
The population of the Ndé division expressed their gratitude to the initiators of this project, and Ségolène Royal was crowned Queen Mother by the 13 traditional rulers of the Ndé division.
Over 117 farmers in the southwest region of the country, precisely in the Fako division, have received material support. This is aimed at promoting and boosting agriculture in this division. Our Southwest Bureau Chief, Pelagie Nanji, gives us the details.
As a measure to boost agricultural productivity in Fako Division, some 117 farmers and farming groups from Limbe 1, Tiko and Boya subdivisions have received brand new farming equipment. This donation exercise is a fallout of the 8th edition of the Mevio Cultural and Development Assembly. Equipment comprised of machetes, spraying cans, hand gloves, sunshades, shovels, trucks, boots, amongst others, were greatly appreciated by the farmers.
It's timely for, it's very, very timely for this equipment, because it will help the farmers to help the farmers to work more, to work easily, so that by next year they will have more production. So we thank the CAPEF, the chief of Mobile especially, for the wonderful gesture.
The items were donated by the Chamber of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Forestry to the organizing committee of MEFCUDA during the Agri Show of the 8th edition of the assembly, where farmers were trained and given the opportunity to exhibit their goods. The chairman of the organizing committee of MEFCUDA, Chief Ndiko Fondatin, encouraged the farmers not to undermine their primordial role in FACO division and beyond.
We try to see that our presence, our impact is felt in other subdivisions, so as to enable them to increase production in order to cover a larger scope of consumers.
The representative from the Chamber of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Forestry, on his part, said they are determined to assist the farmers in whatever little way they can.
Hungry man is an angry man. So, but when there's food on your table, you cannot be angry. And we are encouraging agriculture, fisheries, livestock and forests. So we are encouraging our farmers. We are encouraging anyone who is interested in the sector, and that they should use their giving talents to produce more. And what they have given added over to them, they should use it deliciously.
This donation is expected to help farmers improve their productivity and curb the food crisis in the division.
The Elite One Championship of Cameroon has been launched in Buda, West region of the country. This began with a match between PWD of Bamenda and Bambotos players of Buda. Our reporter, Mabia Grace, gives us the details.
It was a challenging encounter at the Buda Omnisport Stadium for the Elite 1 and 2 Championship as the players of Buda faced PWD of Bamenda at the start of the sports season for the 2021-2022 Fecafoot League with 1-0 victory for Buda. The opening ceremony was marked by grand cultural parade from 4 cultural areas of Cameroon and artistic achievements in the presence of the governor of the West region, our Fonka Augustine Adolphe Lele Lafrique, president of Fecafoot Samuel Etofis, and many other senior Cameroon football players. The first half of the game was marked by offensive actions from both teams, and at the second half of the game, supremacy was noticed at the site of the Mangwa.
The youth at today is contest a big chance. So you look the youngest Shem. They have a good occasion, but it's spoiled. So that's the youth. No, you are going to continue to work on it. Okay.
However, at the 57th minute of play, Serge Rodrigue Kopit Mani scored a goal for Buda, which marked the first goal for the 2021-2022 sports session. Meanwhile, despite the hard fights of the Abakwa boys, the scores remained unchanged for 90 minutes.
The Secretary General for Fecafoot has signed a press release on the resolutions taken by the committee. These resolutions were taken in a meeting which was held on the 16th of March 2022. LTM News Desk gives us the details.
On Wednesday, March 16, 2022, the Fecafoot Emergency Committee held by video conference an ordinary session. The meeting had on its agenda roll call and verification of presence, welcome address by the President of Fecafoot, examination of resolutions number 2 and number 3 of the Emergency Committee adopted on March 4, 2022, examination of some articles of the rules and regulations of the Elite 1 Professional Championship for 2021-2022 season, miscellaneous. At the end of deliberations, the following resolutions were adopted. The Emergency Committee unanimously retracts resolution number 2 of the Emergency Committee as adopted on March 4, 2022, on the partition of the pools of the Elite 1 Professional Championship for 2021-2022 season. The Emergency Committee unanimously retracts resolution number 3 as adopted on March 4, 2022 on the calendar of the Elite 1 Professional Championship for 2021-2022 season. The Emergency Committee unanimously approves the partition of the pools and the calendar as proposed by the Transitional Council of Professional Football. The Emergency Committee unanimously unanimously approves the modifications of all the provisions of the rules and regulations of the Elite One Professional Championship in respect to the venues and the designated playing grounds of the matches of the Elite One Championship for the 2021-2022 season. The Emergency Committee unanimously approves that all the matches of the Elite One Professional Championship for the 2021-2022 season shall be played by groupings of the teams under the modalities and grounds chosen by FECAFOOT or the Transitional Council of Professional Football. This press release was signed by Benjamin Didier Banlop, the Secretary General of FECAFOOT.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now take you out of the country, where war in Ukraine has caused increase in the prices of commodities in Nigeria and Malawi. Courtesy Africa News.
In this Lilongwe Mall in Malawi, we are kilometers away from the front lines of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. However, the distance doesn't mitigate the high price local households have to pay. Global increases in the price of wheat or fertilizer have been recorded since the fight started, raising fears for workers like Tionge Ulaya.
We are afraid that maybe we will all lose our jobs because the ones that are working at the bakery, they are not doing the job. They're not doing what they used to do because they are not making a lot of like blade, and we are not selling a lot of them.
If the supply has diminished while the demand remains the same, less shoppers will be able to afford these commodities over time. Cooking oil price has already shot up by an average 50%.
Cost of production, it has increased immensely. So they have to come together and also increase the price of bread by 40% to what it was before.
Africans are also feeling the impact of the Ukraine crisis in the price of fuel. In Nigeria, the biggest oil producer, the government only subsidizes the cost of petrol.
At the beginning of the year, diesel sell for, I think, about 270 to 280. Then at the time we're having it like 310, 300. But presently, within a month, it left that level to about 600 and something plus now. Trucks that bring in food stuff from the north to the south are running on diesel. Even train runs on diesel.
The operators on the different levels of the supply chain therefore pass the cost on to consumers. It is the case, for instance, for sachet water. Last year's price increase was blamed on the prices of production components. This time, it is the war in Ukraine.
We used to sell 120 before. So because of the diesel now, the expenses of the nylon is too much. That's why we are selling 150 now.
The full extent of the Ukraine-fueled inflation has yet to be estimated, but it is already clear that African families will be impacted. Some countries will struggle with higher borrowing costs, and conflict-torn states could face food insecurity.
Locals in the Democratic Republic of Congo have slammed their authorities over deadly train accidents. Courtesy Africa News.
Days after a train crash in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, killed at least 75 people, survivors are expressing anger and dismay. It was the driver who caused the death of so many people because he was driving too fast, way too fast. Locomotive 31 to 14 slowed down at the top of a mountain. They started driving back and several wagons fell into the ravines. Ours was stopped by a power pole and I survived thanks to the power pole. 125 people were also injured. It is important for us to do a general assessment of our railway condition. The accident occurred in Congo's southern Lualaba province in Kitenta village. In October, 9 people died when a train derailed in the same province.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we draw the curtains of today's edition of the English Newscast. Join Patrick Guanya at exactly 7:45 for the news in the French language. And until then, remain tuned to our numerous programs. See you tomorrow. Good night.